Good evening and welcome to Farmer Safety Corner. This evening, I plan to just kind of go over some resources that are available in regards to heat stress. We're kind of focusing on that seasonal safety topic. And included in that is heat stress. And a lot with heat stress is the preventative measures for that particular issue, as well as we can look at hydration and UV protection. So, first of all, I'm kind of introducing you to our brand new updated website. So, you can see right here, there's three boxes in the front: online training, start your safety plan training and workshops. But if you were to come here to find the resources I'm going to show you today for heat stress, there's one simple, easy way to do that. Simply click that search button, and in the box, and as you can see, I've already done it, type heat stress and press enter. Just wait for the page to load, and this is what will happen. So all the topics I've added to the website, either in post or as part of a resource, has been brought up here in this list. So anything that has a date will be something that was posted. So it's an article or something that I provided as information in the e-news or anything along those lines. What doesn't have a date is a resource is actually living right on this website. So it typically would include a template that you would want to download. So you can see Christmas trees, fruit growers don't have a date. So that must mean there's some sort of template available in regards to heat stress, as well as the commodity specific farm safety plan, as well as farmer safety rally and the sustainability series. So the first thing I want to look at, because a bulk of where you can get a lot of information on heat stress and the criteria involved, roles and responsibilities of farm owners, managers, supervisors, and even the workers, is in a heat stress policy. So if you clicked on fruit growers, knowing that this would have some sort of template available, in here is a commodity specific farm safety plan for fruit growers. We also have another one for Christmas tree growers as well. And that was what was at the top of this list above fruit growers. And you can see we have the resources in both English and Spanish. And you would find heat stress in section 2 just by scrolling down to policies and checklists. And then you take a look, and there it is, the heat stress policy. So any of these documents that you would click on here is going to open up into a Word document so that you can take that policy and adapt it and make your own. In this particular commodity specific plan section, it shows you here, farm safety plan customization tips. It shows you how to actually make that template your own by putting in your farm name and making simple adjustments. So let's click on heat stress policy. And as you can see, it popped up down here at the bottom left of my screen. And I'm going to click on it after it stops flashing. And then I'm just going to minimize this other window. We'll bring that up later. And this is the heat stress policy. I'm just going to make it over here, make it a little bit bigger. That's too big. Here we go. So here in one policy, you get a lot of information on how to protect yourself against heat-related disorders throughout the summer months. But if you're working indoors and you have a processing plant, then this is something that you want to focus on indoors as well. So you will find both outdoors and indoor information in this particular policy. So of course, there's always a purpose to a policy. Definitions. You want to know what the meaning of these different words are in relation to this particular topic in this policy. Definitions are always a great place to start when looking at any particular policy, so you understand how it applies to you. Then you have a policy statement. This basically, like any policy as well, is putting on paper what you're already doing in relation to health and safety. And in this particular topic, what you're doing for heat stress or what you want to do and what you want to implement. So that's your policy statement. Then, of course, who does this particular policy protect? So is it going to protect the worker, supervisors, all populations, like contractors, visitors? If you have a UPIC, do you want to make sure those who are coming to UPIC have the resources they need to prevent heat-related emergencies? And then, of course, it runs through roles and responsibilities. Now, some of these roles and responsibilities may not apply to you. And all you have to do is simply, let's see, this isn't going to be reviewed annually. Let's delete. And there it's gone. And then you update it. So you can add and subtract whatever you need to this particular policy. Health and safety committee, health and safety representative as well, depending on the number of people on your farm. Heat stress exposure limit. So this is key because people go, okay, what type of work should I be doing when it's plus 42 outside? And so this chart is kind of a good idea to look at this. But we're not just looking at atmospheric temperatures, we're also looking at what may add to our body temperature. So we talked just briefly on that processing plant. And here you can see if they're wearing any type of coverall or barrier, any type of coverall really covers it, aprons and things like that, they add to the temperature of your body. So to this temperature, you would add that 11 degrees. So you can see the more clothing we put on, the more our body temperature will rise and it becomes more uncomfortable and harder to work in and creates that stress on the body. So all of these little charts help you figure out how to work within certain temperatures and what that means. So then we go through too, once we figure out what that means, we go through hazard assessment. So I mentioned we have other things to consider, such as the environment, other than temperature. We also want to consider humidity, heat radiation. Do you have any air movement? Is there fans or a ventilation system? We talked about workload. What type of physical condition is the person in, and how physical is the job that you're doing? And then, of course, we touched on clothing. Here's the specifics for indoor work. And again, it touches on your ventilation, any air treatment, air cooling, air conditioning, local air cooling, type of convection cooling or heating that may happen based on the equipment that you're using, and any heat conduction. And that's basically coming off the surfaces that you're working around. So then, of course, how you can potentially control your thermal conditions and monitoring those conditions. And key, how to monitor personal conditions. So what are we looking for when somebody may be working in higher temperatures than normal? Or I should say that they haven't been acclimatized to yet. Cooling devices. And if you work out in the vegetable fields on farm or doing any haying or any type of work that's in the wide open area with no shade, how do you cool yourself? What are you going to put in place to make sure that you can create some sort of break from that heat or some sort of thermal comfort? And then, of course, it goes through administrative controls and work controls. A lot of administrative controls are paperwork and scheduling. So training on what to look for when working in the heat, the different signs and symptoms of heat illness. Scheduling, can you work early morning to maybe lunchtime and then take that afternoon break when it's hotter and come back to work in the evening when it's cooler? What type of personal protective equipment should the workers be wearing? What type of layers are key in keeping the body cool? And then, of course, drinking water. We talked about hydration, and we're going to look at Farmer CQ Rally that focuses on water as well. And then, of course, removal and treatment for that heat exposure. And I've got a chart down below on the signs and symptoms and what that looks like. Acclimatization, which we touched on above. And that contingency plan, what to do if the humidex is exceeding 40 degrees Celsius. And if you can see here, at 45, stop work. It is probably just too darn hot to move anyway. So that you can use this as a guideline and you can set your own limitations. I wouldn't go over and above these limitations, but you can certainly go to the other direction and minimize them a little bit. We talked about training and education, but here's your first aid for heat stress response. So just the heat rash, the sunburn, heat cramps, fainting, heat exhaustion, and of course, the most severe heat stroke. So this chart goes through the conditions, so hot, humid environment, plug sweat glands for heat rash, red bumpy rash with severe itching, So what we want to do about it is change into dry clothes and avoid hot environments and rinse the skin with cool water and then wash regularly to keep skin clean and dry. That's ongoing treatment. So each of these has basically a description of the condition, signs and symptoms, what to do initially, and then moving forward, what to continue to do. And then of course, the protection of your contractor. So if you hire anybody that comes on farm to do work for you, we want to include and protect them as well against these types of emergencies and conditions. So let's close this. We didn't want to say, and then move back to our list. And I mentioned a farmer safety rally. If you haven't heard of these get posted in the e-news once a week. We highlight and feature a different one once a week. And they're basically safety meetings that are already prepared for you. So we have a whole section on seasonal safety. You just click that. And then here's the first one, farming in the heat. And you can see we have farming under UV rays, hurricanes, which we're gonna be getting into that season now. So how do we protect ourselves and the farm? And then of course, protecting your eyes from the sun. And then most importantly too, tick checks. So let's focus on farming in the heat. Again, because this is a template that you can make your own, it opens up into a Word document. Opens up the heat stress policy again. Here we go. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Now this is fun because all you have to do is add your farm name here. Here's the topic, farming in the heat. So the first page, and this is a 2-page document, you can print this double-sided. You can print it and hand it to each one of your workers who's going to participate, or you can just use it as a guide to lead your meeting independently with your workers. So the information is on the first page. A safety meeting is just a quick look at a certain topic to give you information about this particular topic without having to go in-depth training. So kind of like a reminder. So on the second page, this is how we run our meeting. So you can see here that I've just highlighted is the agenda. So this gives you certain things to discuss after you've kind of read through and gone through the topic. So here, you discuss farm tasks that may result in heat stress. If preventative measures are not in place, how do you cool it in the heat? Do you make drinking water available? What are people wearing while working in the heat? And then reviewing the signs and symptoms, and check in with some of your workers to see if they have experienced those signs and symptoms already this year, or if they have at past jobs doing different tasks. So here, this prompts the discussion. You always want the feedback from your workers so you know where the training is required and to see if there are any gaps. So get comments from them, see if they have any concerns from the previous rally, or if there's any action items for this particular rally. And then if there was any incidents, near misses, or unsafe acts or conditions that existed. And then of course, why not ask them if they have any future topics that they would like to discuss? So then we test their knowledge. We want to see if they're actually paying attention in the meeting. And this is just a kind of fun thing just to recap what was discussed in the meeting. And then of course, there is an attendance record. So everyone would put their names on the left-hand side printed, and then their signature just showing that they attended and participated in the meeting. So as mentioned, you can download this and use it as your own. Just add your firm name and it is yours to share. Lots of good information on heat-related emergencies, as well as the farming under UV rays, similar document that will pop up, same format. Just 1 second here. And as you can see, it goes through the information on the first page. Then there's the agenda that prompts the discussion, getting your feedback, your quiz, and the attendance record. So they all have similar formats. So you don't have to get used to using a new format every meeting. Every meeting, and I think there's about 42 that have been posted to the website, but have been broken down into several headings. And because we're focusing on seasonal safety, that's where I led you to today. So if we go back, search heat stress. If you have any questions, feel free to unmic or unmute yourself using your mic or adding them into the chat or the Q&A. I'm trying to keep an eye on that up here, and then I can share some information. Now, if you don't have any questions based on this particular topic and you would like to ask about something else, definitely bring those up as well. So here, farming in the heat, that was a similar post to the Farmer Safety Rally. And then, of course, we had some information in the COVID-19 resource guide, and then our sustainability series. So this was a full series dealing with several topics for sustainability on farm. And of course, seasonal safety is included in this particular topic. And it can be found either under emergency response as first aid training and under personal protective equipment as well. Excellent. I see we have a question. I wish everything was available in Spanish, but no. But I can show you what we have available in Spanish. So if we go back to resources, it's quite costly for Spanish translation, so I usually have to wait for funding. But once we have that funding, those resources are posted. So right now, our commodity specific plans, which you could use and compare to the guide to the farm safety plan, are available in Spanish. So under fruit growers, I mentioned here, they all still have the English topics, so you can kind of go back and compare what the information is. But as soon as you open the topic, you hit heat stress. It's just downloading here. You can see it's all in Spanish. So now you can provide that same information. You can change your farm name through this, any of those highlighted areas, and they'll be able to read that information in their own language, which a lot of times is a little bit quicker and easier. So any of these documents that you can find in the English section for a farm safety plan is available in Spanish. We also have mental health resources available in Spanish. Our Farm Family Support Center offers Spanish resources as well. And so if you're not familiar with the We Talk We Grow website, here is the new mental health campaign resource page. And so we have resources and training section, and it's broken into 3 categories. But if you just click this one section, you can see prevention, protection, and engagement. If you click prevention, scroll down a little bit, here's our Farm Family Support Center that I just mentioned. And this link takes you right to the Spanish page, and it gives you all the information that was on that last page in regards to the Farm Family Support Center in Spanish on this page. And then of course, clicking the website will bring up the Spanish page of the website. Now I've clicked this once before and it went to English, but there is the option to change it to Spanish as well once it loads. It didn't load. Here it comes. And there it is in Spanish. Any other questions? I'm going to take you back to the Christmas tree. Spanish resources were just uploaded today. We were having a little technical issue with some space, so we've got that all figured out now, and that too is now available for Christmas tree growers. And if you have trouble downloading, I can make these resources available to you in print as well as on a USB, so I can send those out to you via mail. And I have about 10 minutes left for questions. Any more questions out there? Doesn't have to be on seasonal safety. It can be like what Spanish resources we have available. Just going to close my repeated windows. And then, of course, depending on your commodity, oh, there we go. Yes, typically monthly for your farmer city rallies, or and if you are a seasonal operation, if you just run from say March to October, once a month each of those months. But if you're year round, you may find, and if you're a small farm, to do it less frequently. So you might find you're pretty good at communicating amongst yourselves. So if you have more than 10 employees, I would keep it at a monthly schedule, but less than that, you might want to consider, especially if you're a year-round operation, to maybe do it every 2 months or so. Quarterly, I don't find is enough. There's too much happens within that 3-month period to be able to catch up with all that information to be able to create a short meeting. So we always want to keep these rallies nice and short, quick bursts of information. And I was just attending the ISASH conference this week, and I just left there to come here. Um, they've got a new term for these meetings, and it's called nudging. So creating these little tiny meetings to be able to just give you short bursts of information that the workers can basically retain that information without having a lot of other blocks or distraction while they're collecting that information. Great question. Any more? I just brought up the COVID-19 resources page here, just to act as a reminder that we do have these resources available. UPICs are open again. We have a specific guide for UPICs, and then working with Blueberry as well. Those are still existing here if you didn't see those resources last year. Going through emergency preparedness. So this whole resources guide gives you a list of every single resource we have for COVID-19. And then each green entry is a link that you can click on. But if you go to the COVID page itself, and you can do that by just clicking at the very top of your screen, it opens up in these windows or pictures with the topics. So there's a health and safety prevention guide here, and then the resource guide here. And then of course your provincial resources, so anything that has come up specifically for Nova Scotia. We've included mental health here as well, maintaining mental fitness, your personal hygiene, facility hygiene, fact sheet on COVID. I'm sure most of you are well aware what it is now and the troubles it has caused of being able to operate as we normally would do on farm, and then any supplements as well. There are Spanish resources here. So we have the fact sheet and some worker information. So this is for when a lot of the temporary foreign workers arrive, what they need to know when they get here within isolation and then after isolation as well. And then personal hygiene posters and information sheets are in Spanish. Like I said, the title of these documents are not in Spanish, so we know how to download them. But once you open them, they are in Spanish. So for instance, we look at the hand washing infographic, so in Spanish. And there's a great video on hand washing as well. Hopefully most are following these protocols at this point in time, where it's been a year and a bit, but this can also act as a resource to update some of the materials you already have. Oh, I'm glad you found those valuable. They were hard to come by at first, and we spent a lot of time looking for them to be reputable resources as well. So I'm glad you found those helpful. And we're still updating these resources on a regular basis when new sheets come available or something changes, such as wearing a mask. We're now into, we started at just a cloth face covering many months ago, and now we're into that 3-ply, whether it be cloth or a medical mask or non-medical mask. So we've changed there, and that's reflected in our resources there too. Excellent. And don't forget to stop by our training. We have right now with our online training, 2 of our courses in Spanish. And that is the WMIS, as well as the Introduction to Farm Safety. I'm just going to close this window so you can see that. So when you open those up, they do a wrap up in Spanish as well, and that's what prints their certificate. So again, the title is in English, but once they go in, the full course is in Spanish. Very well done. And on the COVID, I should say on the We Talk We Grow page, under resources, this 8 domains of well-being will be available in Spanish shortly. It's just in the process of being translated. And I found this a valuable infographic with how to protect emotional well-being. And you could see the other topics there: social, intellectual, environmental, physical, financial, occupational, and spiritual well-being. Great resources put out by Dr. Andrea Jones-Fitton. We also have In the Know training, and soon this is going to be available in Spanish. This is the next item to go for Spanish translation. This is a interprovincial funding partnership initiative to get this into Spanish. So this will probably be delivered here in Nova Scotia in Spanish through translator, but all the materials and everything will be delivered in Spanish. So that will be at their fingertips as well. Currently, we've done 3 of these sessions in English. So we did one in April, May, and June. We just finished one on June 9th. We'll be offering these again in the fall, and we have our local facilitator, Duncan Vesey, who's going to be delivering that program. He's a 68-year-old farmer who's been living in Canada. He is originally from the UK, but he's been living in Canada for 15, 20 years now. And he's a psychiatrist by trade, and he's been participating within the rural communities to get more support and resources to rural communities. So great to have on our team. Any additional questions? I see we're only about 3 minutes out. I will stay for that 3 minutes, and I can just keep showing you more. What do you want to see? This page, I have We Talk, We Grow, and we have the farm safety page. If you require first aid, you can always request that through this page or just contacting me directly. So I didn't go under the right page, my bad. I keep hitting the same page. There we go. So farm safety webinars and workshops and workplace safety courses. So where you would find first aid is here. Go to the tractor. And then emergency and standard first aid. So you would just click on this. And then it says request safety course. Just click there. And just fill out the form. Just remember to click on to the next one. But again, you can contact me either through info@farm safety or my actual email for other NSFA initiatives is lbrookhouse@nsfa-fane.ca. And I can put that in the chat for you. I do get both, but just be helpful if you need another source, there it is. We also have a YouTube channel. So if you have questions in regards to, especially health and safety committees, and I don't have tick checks in Spanish. I will see if the public health has something. Let me put that on my homework list. So I will add that on my to-do list and get back to you. And then I can post it as well if I do find something. Interesting, very good. So speaking of health and safety representative and health and safety committee, we have a YouTube video that goes through our available resources. So if you go back to resources, and you can even go under build a farm safety plan this time, it's under commodity specific as well. And it is in that famous section 2 we've been looking at tonight. Click workbook, download workbook files. and then just scroll a little bit. And here is Health and Safety Committee, Health and Safety Rep. So the YouTube video guides you through these two particular resources, depending on what you need. I'm in the process of building an online learning course. It is almost ready. So you can use that particular training initiative versus the YouTube video as well. The YouTube video is continuous play, whereas you'll be able to pause and download even within the actual online training course. And you can click on and reference occupational health and safety legislation specifically from the course as well. Excellent. And we are at our time. It is 7:30. I'm going to add a chick check in Spanish for my homework, and I will send that out if I can find it or follow up, because I have your particular email in your registration. I will follow up with you if I do or don't find. All right, thank you for joining me with Farmer Safety Corner, and I hope to see you next month.